Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about incursions and how to farm these temples for profit, and how to use your Alva missions. I see a lot of people not using them, thinking they're kind of useless or whatever, but I can tell you that as long as you have Alva missions there, you're kind of missing out. Those can be very easily translated into pure EXALTS quite easily, just by using Glennach Cairns. You don't even need the full 10 Atlas passives. It's really easy. You only need these 4 points. We're going to go all over it. You don't need any wash stones. I just have the wash stones in from my last farming method. But yeah, let's get you some exalts. So first time, in order to understand this, you will have to understand the pure basics of Incursion. I can't go over everything. So you have to know kind of what a temple is, how to do incursions on your own. But before we get into the farming method and understand how you make the money, we have to understand what people are looking for in these temples so you can pick the right ones to sell. All right, so first room is the corruption room, or the double corruption room, the locus of corruption. This is a tier 3 upgrade, as will all of the rooms be that we're going to talk about. And this one basically makes it so you can double corrupt an item. And people are buying this for 1x straight. Let's actually go to the trading website. At least right now, just having the locus of corruption, don't get baited by some price fixers, but just having the locus of corruption goes for like 1x. The rest doesn't really matter. Now, if you have good rooms here, you can think about running it yourself, but people won't really be paying more. They will be paying more if you have one of the next 2 rooms on top that we're going to talk about, sure. But just because you have a map room, don't overprice it. People just want the double corruption and they want out of the temple. That's basically what this is for, but this is your big payoff. So for example, I have like 15 of them here after my, I don't know, 12-hour farming session. So that alone, like bearing all the other stuff that was in my map, like everything that I farmed here, just these are basically already 15x just on the side from my Alva Missions that I just generated. But yeah, let's talk about the other 2 rooms. Next up is the Doriani's Institute, which is the tier 3 gem corruption room, which lets you double corrupt the gem. These ones right now, let's actually check it. I think they went for like 55C last time I checked. Yeah, so you always have to scroll a little down because at the start you will always see people who are underpricing or AFK or whatever. So yeah, here we are like 55C realistically right now. This can obviously change, always check. But just having the Doriani's Institute alone is worth 55C. Now, if you have it on top of a corruption room, obviously that changes things and you have to reevaluate. Then you have to tick both on the trading website to see what they're worth. For example, let's do it right here. If you have both, you're seeing like 1.2x roundabout. So yeah, there's kind of a fall off, but yeah, this is, I mean, it's just easy currency. Like I said, you just do some alvas and you convert it directly into chaos. Now, last but not least, the Apex of Ascension. This is the unique upgrade room or unique gamble room, whatever you want to do. People used to use it for like hoping to get a headhunter, but nowadays it's basically just used to upgrade certain incursion uniques with vials. Now, if you don't know what that is, you should probably just sell these. But if you know the market well and you actually can look up the certain uniques and see if you can upgrade them yourselves, you can also run these temples yourselves. This would kind of be too much for this video, but I will just say that if you sell these, just the room alone, currently, I think it was like 40C, was it? This was with the corruption room. Just this one alone is like 40C-ish, so that's another room that sells very, very well. So summed up, in between all of these that I farmed, I still have some left. I'm still going to do like 2 temples more or something. But just on the side doing alvas, I earned round about 30-ish exalts. Now, something I want to point out is, what do you do if you have a lot of juicy rooms in there, like map rooms or currency rooms? Now, I'm going to take my last room here, for example. This one is a really, really bad run that I'm currently doing. I have 3 incursions remaining, so within my next map, I'm going to complete it. So there's a few rooms that have good outcomes. Number 1 is the Strongbox Chamber. If you have it all the way to tier 3, it will very likely give you Diviner's Strongboxes or Cartographer's Strongboxes, which is extremely strong since you're going to get a T16 map. So you're going to get like T16 maps in return. T16 temple, I mean. And yeah, you also get the Atlas of Worlds, which straight up gives you maps. You have other stuff that's like, okay, these all give you like uniques that if you don't really know how to price them, can be pretty worthless. stuff like Breach or Legion, they're very, very weak because you don't have any Atlas passives for them. But for example, if I brick this one completely, let's say I do not hit the Catalyst of Corruption, then I would basically just run this myself and get all the juice out of it that I can. But as soon as I get one of the 3 rooms I just named, I will put these up for sale. And at that point, the rest doesn't really matter. Now, obviously, if you want to corrupt it yourself, you can. I know it's fun, but do realize that you're basically throwing away an Exalt, which can be very important depending on what your currency currently looks like. But how do we generate as much value as I did out of the maps I just showed you? As you saw, almost every second temple I did had a tier 3 corruption room, which is worth an Exalt. How did I do that? Well, it's really, really easy. And the only thing you need is these 4 passive points and maps in Glennach Cairns. All right, so these Incursion Atlas passive nodes can be very confusing in its wording. So I'm going to explain what this means. First up, killing resource reallocation. Killing non-resident architects in areas has a 50% chance to add an additional upgrade tier to the surviving architect's room. Now, what that means is simply that if you kill, let's put that in red, if you kill this one here, so the architect that already has 1 tier, let's for example say this is like tier 1, T1, T0. Now, if you killed this architect, normally what happens is it goes from T1 to T2. But what happens here is, in addition to the T2, you also have a 50% chance to immediately go from T1 to T3, which is incredible and which I definitely would recommend you do whenever you can. And the reason you want to do that as often as possible is that whenever you get a room to T3, even if it is a room that you don't care about, that room will never show up, making it easier to get the other rooms that you actually want. So you can basically block rooms that you don't want by leveling them up to T3. So for example, I really do not care about upgrading the Flame Workshop. But if I get the Flame Workshop and I can't change it into a room that I need either, I might as well try and upgrade it to T3, because if I upgrade it to T3, it won't ever show up again. It's left there, and I have more chance to actually get my Catalyst of Corruption, my Unique Room, or the Gem Corruption Room. And now the second one, which is even more important in my opinion, is killing resident architects in areas adds their upgrade tier to the surviving architect's room. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, if you go back to this example, it means that if you kill this one here and you basically change the room, for example here, you would change it to the Corruption Chamber, all the tiers that this one has gets added to this one down here. So, for example, let's say this one was a T1, and you kill the one down below and switch it. Usually, you would now switch into this one as a T1. But since this one is a T1, you get 1+1. So this one down here would change into a T2. Now, that's cool and all, but what's even more interesting is, for example, let's say that you just, if we look at the first passive node, right? So let's say we just did what we said earlier, and we did a Flame Workshop, and we wanted to hit the tier 3, right? But we didn't hit it. We hit the tier 2, so now we're stuck at tier 2, so it can show up again. If it shows up again at tier 2, what you can do, and there is like another room that you want to change to, what you can do here is simply, this will be the T2, the Flame Workshop, and now if you kill this, you get 2 added to this one, making this a instant T3 room. So for example, and this happens quite a few times, I think it happened like 3 to 4 times, so it's not super relevant, but if you don't do it, you're losing out on exalts. For example, if you have a bricked T2 room here, and you have like Locus of Corruption or Sacrificial Chamber or whatever, something you want to sell, right? It won't upgrade to T1, it will immediately go to T3. So this is really, really OP. So do not always upgrade. Also look at your options down here. Now, as for Watchstones or other strats, like for example, what do you do with the rest of your passives? I went for a Beyond, but honestly, it's really whatever. You can also go for a 10% chance to go Legion Encounter. Understand that if you do these, just do them as you would normally map in the region. You can throw a Cartographer's in there, a Cartographer Scarab. You can throw in a Metamorph Scarab. you can just run those maps normally. I would not just take throwaway maps and waste your whole map. Just do it as a normal farming cycle. And in that case, probably Beyond is really, really nice to have. You can also go with the Legion notes if you want to juice it with the Legion Scarab. Go for whatever you want here. You can even go Strongbox. It doesn't matter. I just went for Beyond, but that's mostly because I have a Headhunter, so it's kind of fun. Now, one thing I do have is I have the Beyond Watchstones. These are completely irrelevant to our strategy here. These are just to juice up the map a little bit more, and I already had them. For Alva specifically, there aren't really any important Watchstones, so I wouldn't really go out of your way to get it. So this is a very entry-friendly strategy overall. Just map as you normally would, but on the side you're going to earn like an X here, an X here, an X here. It's actually really, really nice to just incorporate, and there's a few nice maps in Glennach Cairns, and I'm going to go over some of them now. So you can pretty much go for whatever map you like in this region. Do note, though, that if you go with the Legion nodes here, you have to pick an open layout, obviously, where Legions can spawn fully. You don't want to do some indoor map. What I chose to do first was Canyons. Canyons are always nice, but they are very hard to buy right now, and I can't sustain them because T14s are actually quite hard to sustain. In the end, I just bought a bunch of Infested Valleys and then just ran them there. I really like Infested Valleys layout. It's kind of nice. So I just did that. But in the end, you can do whatever you like here, and you can incorporate basically whatever strategy you want. But do note that the core of what you're going to do is kind of going to revolve around Alva. Now, to show you how I actually do these, I just going to do a real quick showcase. I'm going to personally use Infested Valley. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's really up to you. I'm going to use a Cartography Scarab and a Rusted Metamorph Scarab because I feel like they're basically always worth to throw into a map. Now, this is basically just like an Alcan Go map for me, but don't think that Alva is the only thing that matters. Obviously, you get a lot more from these maps other than the temples. The temples are just basically a free side thing that you get from your master missions down here. So what we do here is we simply put in the map, and I don't really use a Zana mod here. I'm just going to do this, click on the Alva, and we open it. I'm also using Sextants. I'm currently using Awakened Sextants. You can do whatever you want. I think they're worth it right now, but they might not be at the time of you viewing the video. Now, we basically just go in, and I'm just going to look for the Alvas here, and not really going to care about the rest, so we can make this one quick. But so here we have an Alva. So for example, you click on it and you see, okay, so I have the chance to upgrade this. Now, all I do when I'm here is look down here if it's anything I want, and I don't. So I'm always going to go up and kill the upgrade first. So this one is already at 1, so we have a 50-50 once we kill this one, so that it is actually tier 3, and otherwise it's going to be tier 2, but it doesn't really matter. I usually clear these. You get a little bit more loot. I don't know. You don't have to full clear them. Now, what I will say is that if you want to run these yourself, be a lot more careful about connections. For example, that you're connected to the boss, because the boss has some really nice loot, and that actually if you have like a corruption chamber or something, and you think you got 1x, you don't accidentally do not have it connected to anything. But usually you don't have to be like meticulous about this. It's usually just going to be connected automatically. Just, I would really clear it and actually get one connection here, but it is up to you. So we're just going to go down here. I'm not really going to go for much more. We're just going to look for the next Alvas real quick. I'm going to loot this one later because I'm poor as fuck. But yeah, so right now, this is, by the way, this is my Fulcrum Self-Chill build. If you care about it, you can look in my last video. I made a full guide about it. This is the second Alva. Once again, we go over here. It's nothing, so we're just going to upgrade. The end. There's nothing really much more to it. If you find a room that you want, obviously prioritize that. So we're going to go here. And since we're already basically done with this, we don't even have to full clear. We just go out. You can wait for a loot explosion. You can like half wait and already like go there. But as you can see, there's going to drop something. Just don't waste too much time. And we go down here. Now, I should really be looting later. Okay, so that's the last Alva right here. And we're going to go. And this is basically where we don't get anything. Now, we do get gems, but it's only one incursion remaining. So at this point, it doesn't really matter what we do. Now, you can just skip this here and you're still going to get the completion. So you don't have to waste your time if it's the last incursion and you don't have anything there that you want to upgrade anymore. This is the last incursion for this temple, and this temple is completely bricked. So if you don't care about it, just leave it alone. If you want to run it yourself, then obviously juice it up just to get it. So we're going to complete this map real quick, and then we're going to get our reward from Alva. All right, now we finished the map, and after the map, you will see we have the 12 incursions done. And if you haven't played in a long time, don't open the temple. That's what that's what you have to do usually. But we want to take the temple, which makes it into a map item, and this is basically the thing that you then sell. In this case, this temple is completely garbage. I might run it later because it's a free map, so why not? But yeah, that's basically how you run these. And I hope I could bring some of you guys to actually do these, because I see a lot of people having like 150 over there. I was one of these people, but it's super easy and it's free monies. So get your exalts, and yeah, that's basically it. But that's it for the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. You can follow me on twitch.tv/Palsteron. I'll be starting to stream real soon. As you might have seen, I already moved, so it's a little bit scuffed at the moment. You can also join the Discord. I will be interacting with it a bit more once I start streaming. Now, probably going to start streaming in like a few days, so if you want to chill out, definitely follow. Now, yeah, this strat, I mean, a lot of people already know about this. I just wanted to give some clearance because there's a lot of confusion behind these two. What is non-resident? What is resident? How do you do these? Like I said, I kind of paired it with a beyond strat, but you can do basically whatever with it. Don't waste your Alva missions. They are worth your time. So yeah, with that being said, since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.